Have you ever wondered why your legs have started to feel weaker, even though you eat well, stay physically active, and lead a healthy lifestyle? Why does climbing stairs feel more exhausting and getting up from a chair require a little more effort than it used to? Is this simply aging, or is something else quietly draining your strength? Here's the paradox. The issue might not be about what you are not doing. It could actually be something you are already doing every day that is quietly working against you. Many older adults make the same hidden mistake, completely convinced that they are doing the right thing. From childhood, we have been told that fruit is always healthy, natural, and something we should eat every day. And yes, most fruits are indeed beneficial. But here is what almost no one says. Not all fruits are equally good for the body after the age of 60. Some of them, the ones we routinely put in our grocery baskets without thinking, can quietly undermine leg health. They can trigger joint inflammation, increase swelling, cause pain in the knees, and reduce mobility. These very fruits, often promoted as healthy food, can actually weaken balance, flexibility, and lower body strength. Why does this happen? Because as we age, our physiology changes. Metabolism slows down, blood circulation worsens, and blood vessels become less elastic. The same foods that once gave us energy can now lead to blood sugar spikes, inflammation, and muscle weakness. This is especially true for fruits that contain a lot of acids, fast-digesting carbohydrates, and fructose. Here's the danger. It does not happen suddenly. There is no sharp pain or sudden weakness. It all begins with a slight heaviness in the legs, some tension in the knees, or a dull ache in the hips after a normal walk. And only months later do we realize that walking has become harder and our joints are less flexible. In this video, you will learn about 7 fruits that people over the age of 60 should avoid if they want to protect their legs from pain, swelling, and weakness. Despite their harmless appearance, not one of these fruits is safe for a body that is going through age-related changes. Once you learn the truth, you will never look at a plate of fruit the same way again. So stay with me until the end if you want to preserve your light, step, stability, strength, and freedom of movement. It might be that your body has been waiting for this very awakening. This video is going to be incredibly informative and helpful. If you want to take control of your health like a pro, give it a like, and let's get started. Fruit number 1, pineapple, a hidden threat to your legs after the age of 60. Pineapple has long been considered beneficial because it contains bromelain, a powerful natural compound known for its anti-inflammatory properties. It is often recommended for chronic pain, swelling, and even digestive problems. But very few people realize that for an aging body, especially after the age of 60, pineapple might not be a helpful ally, but rather a slow and silent drain on leg strength. Why does this happen? First, pineapple contains a high amount of simple sugars and fruit acids. According to a study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in the year 2021, older adults tolerate blood glucose spikes worse than younger individuals because of reduced insulin sensitivity and slower capillary circulation. After eating pineapple, blood sugar levels can rise sharply, which damages small blood vessels, especially in the legs. As a result, the muscles receive less oxygen, leading to fatigue, numbness, and even cramps after walking. This is particularly dangerous for people with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, conditions that are becoming increasingly common after the age of 60. Second, the acids in pineapple irritate joint tissues. A study in the Journal of Inflammation Research in the year 2022 found that fruit acids can intensify inflammation in patients with osteoarthritis, especially in the hip and knee joints. If you already have arthritis, eating pineapple may not relieve pain. It may actually increase swelling and stiffness in your legs. There is another important point. Bromelain, the very compound that makes pineapple so valued, can interact with certain medications. In particular, it can enhance the effects of anticoagulants, blood-thinning drugs, such as warfarin. This may lead to bruising, internal bleeding, and general instability in the body. A study conducted by Tufts University in the year 2020 confirmed that combining bromelain and anticoagulants requires extreme caution in older adults. But the most deceptive part is that the harm from pineapple is not immediately noticeable. There is no sharp pain or obvious discomfort, just a gradual decline. One day, you might feel a slight heaviness in your legs, The next day, it could be soreness in your calves after a short walk. And a month later, it might feel like your legs are losing their strength altogether. You may blame it on aging, but in reality, it could be the result of regularly consuming certain foods, including pineapple. What can be done? You do not have to give up pineapple completely if you enjoy it. But if you are dealing with ongoing pain, swelling, or weakness in your legs, consider reducing your intake and observing how your body responds. The answer to easing your symptoms might lie there. Aging is not an illness, but some foods can speed up its effects. Pineapple is one of those deceptively harmful fruits. Fruit number 2, banana, a sweet deceiver for aging legs. Bananas have long been seen as a symbol of healthy eating. They are rich in potassium, provide quick energy, and are said to help prevent cramps. But if you are over the age of 60, bananas may have a very different effect. Yes, potassium is important for the cardiovascular and muscular systems. However, bananas also contain a high amount of easily digestible carbohydrates and natural sugars, including glucose, fructose, and sucrose. According to a study published in Mayo Clinic Proceedings in the year 2022, insulin resistance is common among older adults. A sudden spike in blood sugar after eating a banana can lead to inflammation of the small blood vessels in the legs. The result? Poor circulation to muscles and joints, especially in the lower limbs, which leads to dull pain while walking, stiffness in the calves, and swelling in the legs. But the issues do not end there. According to a publication in the Journal of Geriatric Cardiology in the year 2021, bananas can worsen fluid retention, especially in people with heart failure. This leads to swelling in the lower legs and ankles, a heavy feeling in the legs, and can even trigger joint pain. The irony is that bananas are often eaten to support muscle function, but in older adults they can have the opposite effect. Due to their sugar content and tendency to retain water, bananas may gradually reduce muscular endurance. And there is one more thing. The effect is not immediate. At first, it may be just a slight discomfort. Then comes persistent heaviness. Later, you might notice morning stiffness or swelling after sitting. It builds up slowly. So if you regularly eat bananas and notice that your legs are getting tired more quickly, pay attention to this combination of sweetness and age. Fruit number 3. Grapes, a small fruit with big inflammatory potential. At first glance, grapes seem harmless. They are small, juicy, and convenient as a snack. They are even advertised as heart healthy because of their antioxidants. But if you are over the age of 60, grapes can become a source of inflammation and leg pain. Why is that? Grapes are among the fruits highest in fructose. Unlike glucose, fructose is processed entirely by the liver. When consumed in excess, especially in older adults with slower metabolism, it gets converted into fat and increases the level of uric acid. This acid is one of the main causes of gout-related pain. A study published in the BMJ in the year 2020 showed that older adults who regularly consume foods high in fructose have a 34% higher risk of developing hyperuricemia or elevated uric acid levels, particularly in the joints of the feet and toes. This is what causes that burning pain in the big toe at night, swelling in the ankles, or tightness in the knees after walking. For some, it feels like a dull ache. For others, it is an inflamed stiffness that makes normal movement difficult. And yes, the cause could be just a couple of handfuls of grapes a day. There is another problem. Grapes are very easy to overeat. They are small and tasty, and before you know it, you have eaten 2 or 3 cups. That adds up to several dozen grams of sugar. When consumed regularly, fructose not only increases inflammation, but also affects blood pressure, putting extra strain on the joints and heart. So if you eat grapes often and notice stiffness, pain, or swelling in your legs, it might be time to rethink your fruit choices. Grapes may not be the helpful ally they appear to be for older adults. Fruit number 4, watermelon, a deceptive hydration ally after the age of 60. At first glance, watermelon seems like the perfect summer fruit. It is refreshing, quenches thirst, is made up almost entirely of water, and contains very few calories. It is often recommended as a natural source of hydration, especially for older adults. But is this juicy fruit as harmless as it seems? Unfortunately, it is not. Despite its light texture and high water content, watermelon has a very high glycemic index, around 72. This means that after eating it, blood sugar levels can spike rapidly. almost as quickly as they do after eating candy. According to a study published in Nutrients in the year 2021, foods with a high glycemic index trigger sharp hyperglycemic reactions in older adults whose insulin sensitivity is already impaired with age. What happens next? A rise in blood sugar triggers an insulin release, but in the aging body, regulation of this hormone becomes unstable. These insulin fluctuations lead to inflammation, especially in vulnerable areas with limited blood circulation, such as the shins, knees, and ankles. Many people over the age of 60 report increasing stiffness in the legs, dull pain when walking, or swelling after meals. This is often blamed on aging, but the real cause might be right on your plate, and it could be watermelon. The journal Gerontology and Geriatric Medicine in the year 2022 published data showing that high glycemic index foods, when consumed regularly, are linked to increased inflammation in the lower limbs and a faster decline in muscle strength among older adults. This shows up as fatigue after a short walk, tension in the knees while climbing stairs, or a feeling of aching ankles even after rest. The problem is made worse by the fact that watermelon is hard to eat in moderation. Its texture feels weightless, almost like water, but just a few slices can cause a sugar load similar to that of soda or cake. Now imagine trying to restore hydration and instead triggering hidden inflammation. And here is another important point. The sensation of hydration can be misleading. Watermelon does not contain electrolytes in the right concentration, while the excess sugar actually increases thirst and can disrupt osmotic balance. This means that after eating watermelon, you may feel thirsty again, even though you just ate a water-rich fruit. This paradox is especially dangerous for people with high blood pressure or heart failure. So, should you completely give up watermelon? Not necessarily, but if you regularly experience stiffness, swelling, or heaviness in your legs, especially during the summer, it might be worth considering whether watermelon has become a hidden trigger. It may not be hydrating your body, but slowly undermining your vascular and muscular balance instead. Fruit number 5, oranges, an acidic trap for the joints of older adults. Oranges are widely seen as a universal symbol of health. They are praised for their vitamin C, antioxidants, and benefits for the immune system. But what strengthens the body at 30 may start to irritate and damage it after the age of 60, especially the joints and soft tissues in the legs. The hidden problem lies in their composition: citric acid combined with fructose. On their own, these components are harmless, but in the aging body, this combination can trigger a cascade of inflammatory reactions. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Rheumatology in the year 2021 showed that frequent consumption of citrus fruits in people over the age of 60 is associated with worsening arthritis symptoms, morning stiffness, and swelling. Citric acid does not only affect the joints through digestion, it enters the bloodstream and can cause inflammation in joint linings and tendons, especially in those already dealing with arthritis or osteoarthritis. If you often feel pain in your knees or tension in your hips after a night's sleep or prolonged sitting, it might not just be aging. It could be the result of a daily glass of orange juice. In addition, the fructose in oranges raises blood sugar levels, especially when consumed in juice form without fiber. According to Diabetes and Aging Review in the year 2022, rapid glucose spikes in older adults trigger systemic inflammation, particularly in peripheral tissues, such as the joints and muscles of the legs. The difficulty is that oranges are disguised as healthy food. People drink orange juice with confidence, believing it is a beneficial habit, and then suffer from leg pain for months, thinking it is just old age. Should you completely eliminate oranges? Not necessarily. But if you notice increased swelling, a burning sensation in your knees, or greater difficulty walking in the morning after eating citrus fruits, it may be time to rethink your citrus routine. Sometimes better health begins not with what we add, but with what we stop just in time. Fruit number 6, green apples. A hidden source of leg tension and nighttime cramps. Green apples are often seen as a symbol of freshness and clean eating. They are crisp, moderately tart, and known as a low-calorie snack. They are especially popular among older adults who are trying to eat healthy. It seems like a safe choice. Low in sugar, high in fiber, and pleasantly flavorful. But behind that simple appearance lies a chemical makeup that can cause leg fatigue, nighttime cramps, and even joint inflammation. The main reasons are malic acid and hidden sugar content, even if the fruit does not taste very sweet. Malic acid, which gives apples their signature tartness, can irritate more than just the stomach lining. In older adults, especially those with chronic inflammation, it can affect joint health as well. A study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience in the year 2022 showed that malic acid can increase peripheral inflammation in people over the age of 60, causing discomfort in the knees, hips, and feet. Some people experience slight joint tension after eating apples, while others report a dull ache in the hip or a burning sensation in the feet during the evening. These symptoms may seem minor at first, but they build up over time, especially with daily consumption of raw apples, which is how most people eat them. Now, about natural sugars. Green apples contain both fructose and glucose, less than red apples, but still enough to matter. For an aging body with a slower metabolism, even these sugars can trigger blood sugar fluctuations, especially if an apple is eaten before bed. The Journal of Diabetes and Metabolic Disorders in the year 2021 reported that such spikes in older adults increase the risk of nighttime cramps, muscle weakness, and morning stiffness in the calves and ankles. Green apples are often seen as the perfect evening snack, but because of that, many people end up overloading their leg joints and muscles without realizing it, thinking the growing heaviness is simply a part of aging, when in fact, the cause may be this healthy fruit. The takeaway: if you regularly feel tension in your knees, heaviness in your legs, or tingling in your feet at night, it might be worth reducing your intake of green apples, especially raw ones, and especially on an empty stomach. Fruit number 7, mango. A sugar attack on the joints and nerves of older adults. Mango is one of the most tempting fruits, soft, juicy, aromatic, and sweet, almost like caramel. It is associated with tropical health, vitamins, and exotic indulgence. But if you are over the age of 60, mango might not be a dessert, but rather a trigger for inflammation, impaired circulation, and pain in the legs. The main problem lies in its extremely high fructose content. One medium-sized mango contains about 45 grams of sugar, which is comparable to a can of sugary soda. According to the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 2022, in older adults, a high dose of fructose causes an insulin spike, followed by a rapid drop in blood sugar, which leads to inflammation in the soft tissues of the joints and worsened microcirculation. If you already have joint issues or peripheral nerve problems, the effects can show up quickly. Swelling in the ankles by evening, tingling in the toes, burning sensations in the feet, or a dull heaviness in the hips. This is not a coincidence. The Journal of Gerontology, Medical Sciences 2021 directly links excessive fructose consumption with accelerated joint tissue wear and increased risk of neuropathy in older adults. What makes mango especially tricky is how easily it is overeaten. It does not feel heavy, like cake or candy, so it is easy to consume an entire fruit. But the body does not care whether the sugar came from something that feels light. Blood sugar spikes all the same, followed by an inflammatory response, knee pain, reduced flexibility, and a slower gait. Many older adults consider mango a natural substitute for sweets. But natural does not always mean safe. For a body with reduced blood circulation and inflamed joints, mango can become a daily trigger that worsens overall condition. What can you do? If you notice that after eating mango you feel more pain in your legs, a sensation of swelling, or difficulty standing for long periods, it may be time to replace this tropical dessert with something less aggressive for your blood vessels and joints. Now you can see the full picture: 7 fruits that can harm your legs and what you can eat instead. At first glance, fruits seem universally healthy. But now you know that even the ones considered the healthiest can have hidden side effects for the body after the age of 60. Especially if you're dealing with leg pain, joint issues, swelling, or poor circulation. But there is good news. Some fruits work differently. They are not only safe, but also have therapeutic effects. They reduce inflammation, improve blood flow in the lower limbs, and help restore mobility. So now let us talk about the fruits that are truly worth including in the diet of an older adult, not just for flavor, but for strength, stability, and comfort while moving. Berries, gentle support for blood vessels and joints. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, and currants are natural anti-inflammatory foods, rich in anthocyanins and polyphenols. According to a review published in Advances in Nutrition in the year 2022, regular consumption of berries reduces levels of C-reactive protein, one of the key markers of inflammation. It also improves peripheral circulation and lowers the risk of thrombosis in older adults. Berries have a low glycemic index, so they do not cause blood sugar spikes. This helps prevent cramps, morning stiffness, and heaviness in the calves. In addition, they are easy to include in your diet, whether in oatmeal, smoothies, or simply as a snack. Cherries, a natural remedy for gout and knee pain. The journal Arthritis and Rheumatology 2020 confirmed that eating cherries daily lowers the level of uric acid in the blood, which helps reduce the risk of gout flare-ups and inflammatory joint pain. Even a small handful of cherries, about 10 to 12 berries, can significantly reduce the frequency of knee pain, especially in the morning or after walking. It is important to consume cherries in moderation and in their fresh form, not as concentrated juice or jam. Avocado, fats that nourish the joints. Avocado is not just a fruit, but also one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory foods. It is rich in omega-9 fats, beta-sitosterol, and vitamin E. According to a study published in the Journal of Nutrition and Aging in the year 2021, regular consumption of avocado reduces joint pain and supports collagen metabolism, especially in the hips and knees. In addition, avocado helps stabilize blood sugar levels, preventing nighttime cramps, weakness, and sudden drops in energy. Papaya, enzymatic support for aging digestion. Papaya contains the enzyme papain, which promotes gentle digestion and helps reduce inflammation in the muscles and joints. A study published in the Journal of Inflammation Research in the year 2022 showed that in older patients with chronic knee pain, consuming papaya improved mobility by 18% over the course of 4 weeks. This fruit is also rich in vitamin C and carotenoids, which help protect cartilage tissue from deterioration. Pear, steady energy without sharp glucose spikes. Pears have low acidity and a moderate amount of fructose, which makes them ideal for the aging body. According to a publication in Nutrition and Healthy Aging in the year 2021, the combination of soft fiber and natural polyphenols in pears reduces blood vessel inflammation and helps maintain stable blood sugar levels, preventing fatigue and weakness in the legs. Tip: pair a pear with a source of protein, such as yogurt or nuts. This can help sustain your energy for a longer period of time. Conclusion: strength comes not from quantity, but from the right choices. You have already taken the first step, realizing that not all fruits are equally beneficial after the age of 60. But now you know which ones do not harm you, and even more importantly, which ones help heal. From this point on, every choice you make can become an investment in strong joints, a light step, and a more comfortable aging process. This is not a story about restrictions. It is a story about mindfulness. Aging is not weakness, it is experience. And if you've read this far, it means you are already moving toward a stronger, healthier, and more conscious version of yourself. Choosing just one right fruit a day is already a win. Next, I recommend checking out these videos, and don't forget to leave your likes and comments. I'm looking forward to them.